Hey everyone, James Labrie from Dream Theater, and you're listening to or watching the podcast Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian. Enjoy this. These guys are extremely informative. I love their dialogue. I love their interpretation of the songs, who and what we are, what we were going after. They're very accurate in their interpretations and descriptions, and I just think this is a great show, and these guys are doing a stand-up stellar job. So once again, enjoy Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Talking into Infinity, a Dream Theater podcast. I am your host, John. Bring Brian here in a second. We are live at talkingintoinfinity.com and the CMSnetwork.com. We are also live on Facebook and YouTube. The show airs every other Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you can't catch the live show, the video replays are the following Friday. And if you want to catch the audio version, just Google Talking into Infinity, and we are pretty much anywhere where you get your podcasts at. So let's bring Brian on. How is it going, man?
What's going on, man? I think this is going to be like a 5-minute show. I mean, there's absolutely nothing to talk about. We really don't have much of an episode, and there's nothing new, on the Dream Theater front. So, 10 minutes, and I bet we're out of here.
I know this is going to be a very quick one, maybe even quicker than the power outage I had last time. So
I did notice we have the same screensaver background now.
I know.
So what exactly is that going on behind us?
It's fan art. No, just kidding. So, I mean, man, let's get right into it. This was the week they announced the new record yesterday. So for anybody who doesn't know, which if you're watching a Dream Theater podcast, that's exactly none of you. The record is called A View from the Top of the World. It is 7 tracks long. The title track is that 20-minute monster. We can actually confirm that if you're wondering which of the songs has the 8-string guitar, it's going to be Awaken the Master. So I think it's kind of cool, Brian. Like we have, some friends that have given us some inside information on the record, and all of it has turned out to be true so far.
I love the song titles. I think they're really cool. Album cover, I'm slowly getting used to it. It's kind of growing on me. I don't know that it's my favorite album cover of theirs, but it's the more I look at it, I'm just kind of noticing some cool stuff. And I wish it was kind of more of a view where you could see a little bit more stuff below, but it's cool. I like it.
Yeah, I dig it. Honestly, what hit me first was the fact that of the Mangini records, only the self-titled one doesn't have this kind of motif to it, like that light blue, like kind of nature-y like look to it. I was kind of surprised. It was, even Distance Over Time, even though it's just the skull in the hand, is very light and bright. Like, so it's been several records they've done like with this sort of kind of bright look to it. I thought it might be a little different, but it's not. I like it. I'm wondering what the spider thing is going to be, because I brought up some screens to share. Like, I don't know how many people have noticed this. I'm sure more than I have, but obviously, this is the album cover. Not the full thing. It's, the top part of it. Below, there's actually a cityscape there. But if you look at the shoes, in the upper left, you'll see there's the little dude, on the shoe on the right. Well, if you go on the website, I noticed this right away. I was like, what is that? If you go on the website, if you look at the shoe on the left now, there's a big tarantula on it. Oh, look at this. Okay, Adam might have figured it out for us. Our very good friend Adam Rishog, 8 legs equals 8 strings. That very well could be. That's a good explanation.
Yeah, I think I saw that somewhere. My only complaint is those shoes. Like, I think that those need to be taken to a cobbler. Those could be, probably shined up a tad, and maybe just a little bit of TLC on those suckers.
There's a word I never thought we'd ever use on our podcast. A cobbler. Wow. Unless my fat ass was talking about blueberry cobbler.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's good. Unless the tarantula's missing a leg and then it's 7 legs for 7 songs. I don't know. Like they're gonna try and fool us with that one. So
There's a few rumors going around too that a lot of these are based on TV shows, like the Alien, I guess, is based on Alf. I don't know if you've heard that or not.
what, what would we do on this show without your terrible jokes, man?
I don't know. I don't have any others for the other songs. That's the only one I could come up with. So
Nice. So Gibson Les Paul brings up a good point. They did announce the tour. He says, "I'm glad we aren't getting an entire album this tour cycle. I dig that, but it takes up too much of the set. Spread the love." I actually completely agree with that. I really enjoyed the whole Images and Words thing and Scenes from a Memory, but I'm ready to get back to a more traditional type of a set list. And I've seen some people online kind of complaining about that, and I'm thinking, they've done the Evening With for how many tours now? And I mean, it's been most of the tours since, man, like 6 Degrees. And I mean, at some point, I mean, these guys are in their late 50s. Like, they just can't keep going 3 hours a night like they used to. And if you notice, I think they fit more shows in on this leg. Did you notice that?
I didn't notice the number of shows, but did you tell me this, or did I read this somewhere that they basically stated they're not going to be doing any more anniversary tours?
I read that somewhere as well.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's been confirmed by anyone. And of course, it's easy to say that now, and 5 years down the road, whatever anniversary is for album, X, Y, or Z, and they might do it. But yeah. I'm very interested to see. Like, I would love. So this. What is the total time on this? I didn't add that up. Do you know for sure?
It's around. I think it's like just a hair over 70 minutes.
70 minutes. Okay, yeah. So if we can get 45 minutes of this album, that would be perfect for me. I'm guessing they're probably almost going to have to play that Massive Monster title track, aren't they?
Well,
I mean, that's got to be a must.
Happening.
Yeah, so that's going to take up the only problem with that is, right, there goes right there a fourth of your set at least.
Yeah.
So if they're probably going to max out at maybe just over 2 hours, if that. I can't see them playing more than that, especially with an opener. So if we can get the title track and I don't know, 3 more of these, that would be in heaven,
Half the record. Our buddy Adam asks, Gibson Les Paul, Dream Theater fans complaining? Get out of here. Nice. Adam asks us, question for y'all, which song besides the 20-minute title track are you most excited to hear?
Well, you know what? Given this episode, and this is what they call a segue, I really want to hear The Alien. It's the first song on the album, and I want to see if it's going to set, and we're going to find out later that the first song on the album does not always set the tone, and we're also going to find out the first song on the album has different meanings between you and I, but that's another story. But anyway, I am curious to see, like, will this first song set the tone for the album? And yeah, I would love to hear The Alien. I think it's a cool song title. There is kind of it's not a concept album, but there's sort of a theme here with the Awaken the Monster, the Sleeping Giants. There's something like, man, there's an uprising coming or something. So I'm kind of interested to see how all that plays out on this.
Yeah, my answer would have been the 20-minute title track because, to be completely honest, I was not a big fan of Illumination Theory. So I was like, oh man, like, I don't know about these 20-minute songs. So I'm hoping to get that taste out of my mouth. But I honestly think I would go with The Alien too. Our sources sent us. We have some information on it that makes it sound pretty cool. So I've already got kind of a picture in my head, like story wise, like what it would feel like, look like, and everything. So I'm kind of excited to hear that. We've been told that the people that have heard it already have said that for them it's easily a top 3 Dream Theater album. So it's hard for me to really pick just one because I'm so excited to, the band's been talking it up. People that have heard it are talking it up now. So I'm very excited for the whole thing. I mean, I know that's it's a cop-out answer, but it's true, So Jacob Green, what's up, man? He says, when do you believe the first single will come out? Could it be tomorrow, August, maybe even September?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
That's about the only answer there, right?
Yeah.
Unless do you have inside info?
I don't have a specific answer, but I've had a couple people that have been right before have guessed late August. So I don't know if that's for sure, but we will see. Again, the stuff that these people have told us has turned out to be correct when they know it's for sure. This one they are not for sure on. They're also not sure if the single is going to be the Alien or Invisible Monster. So that's up in the air as well. I mean, you would kind of assume it would be the Alien because that's the album opener and that's typically what they've done recently, which is why, Brian, I'd like to let you know that The Gift of Music is actually the opening song to The Awakening, you dummy. But anyway,
You mean The Astonishing? There is no
Yeah.
album called The Awakening.
sorry, The Astonishing. My bad. I was thinking of Awaken the. I got the new record in my head, man. What do you want from me? So, yeah, it's definitely going to be awesome, man. And I know that we got our tickets today for the show here in Canton, and me and you, it's become like a ritual for us to road trip to go see them. And this time they're playing like 25 minutes from me on a Friday night, so saves us all that road trip money.
Yeah.
And having to deal with each other for 2.5 days. So, so I know our buddy Adam got tickets to the Seattle show. It was pretty cool on that Dream Theater message board because everyone was throwing out pre-sale codes and stuff for everybody to use, which is really cool. So and it wasn't even expensive. Can you believe it was only like $69.50 for like front row tickets to our show?
Yeah, it doesn't totally surprise me. I mean, I think that's a way of kind of hoping to make sure that it sells out. And I really do hope it sells out because, you want it to be packed. You want the energy from the fans there. The bands feed off that. I mean, you as a musician and me as a musician, it's energy is really, it's just transferred. It doesn't just come from one person. You need it both ways. So let's hope they pack that joint.
Yeah, totally. I'm super excited for it. If they do a second leg, maybe we can road trip then. It'll be, probably, next spring or something like that. So that'd be pretty cool. Oh, look at Adam's. Adam paid 190 Canadian each. Maybe the exchange rates are a lot higher than we thought. Maybe you did the platinum, Adam, because I know that the platinum ones are resales. So I saw prices like that on ours today, but that was ones that people were just they bought and then we're trying to make money off of. So.
Look, that's just 3 less bags of ketchup chips he's going to be able to buy. That's all that is.
For his move to Vancouver. All right, well, why don't we get into this here? So tonight's topic, we decided that after several discussions on other shows about albums, we were like, the opening songs on the Dream Theater records pretty much all are, kind of kick ass. So we decided we were going to try and rank them. And on my Star Wars show, we ranked all 11 live-action movies, and it turned out to be a pain in the ass. Because you get to that middle part, I don't know if you had this problem, Brian, but you kind of know the top and the bottom. It's pretty simple. But then when you get to that middle part, you're like, oh, my God, do I like this song or this song? Like, it gets really difficult. So...
Well, before we get into that, I made a list of some of my favorite album openers, and some of these you'll obviously probably agree with. One of them is, probably the most obvious of all time, Van Halen, Running with the Devil. Right?
Oh, Van Halen is my favorite band outside of Dream Theater, and I would have to say I would not pick that one.
No? Okay.
But that could be. But you're right in terms of how classic it is. Just
Okay.
for me personally, having listened to them literally for most of my entire life,
Right.
that song is so
Well,
overplayed that I'm like.
But let's look at it from maybe a classic standpoint too.
Yes.
Also, so
No,
I've
I
got
agree. All right.
okay. So I've got Iron Maiden, Where Eagles Dare.
Yeah.
Iron Maiden, Aces High. Now, for me, this is probably going to be my number one because I specifically remember buying the album. Scorpions' Love at First Sting, Rock You Like a Hurricane was everywhere, and that opening guitar riff that's doodling over on Bad Boys Running Wild. Just ultimate 80s metal rock ear candy. Ozzy, Over the Mountain, I don't know.
Yep.
Rush, obviously Tom Sawyer. Nickelback, Follow You Home, from All the Right Reasons, obviously, right?
Shut up.
No, but Megadeth, Holy Wars, those are
I was
basically the ones
I was gonna go there. Honestly, my top one might be is Blackened, off And Justice for All. That's my favorite Metallica song on my favorite record. So to me, that's just, it's one of the angriest songs on the angriest Metallica record. So,
yeah, you can't go wrong with that. Fight fire with fire, I mean, so, but
yeah.
so anyway, so yeah, so we approached it differently, and we don't need to sit here and argue about it since we know I'm right. But
Nice.
but so my criteria was, okay, when I first, just whatever the first thing that comes on the album, and I understand we've got some concept albums and we've got some intros and things like that, but something's going to end up being last no matter what anyway in a list like this, right? So for me, it was just like, man, boom, I just hear that immediately, and I'm like, wow, this is going to be just an amazing album, and it just right away I'm just sucked in. So that was kind of my main criteria. What was yours?
I just literally went with, like, because we do have some goofy stuff that, starts out albums. I went with basically what I considered to be, okay, now the album's in motion. For example, Descent to the Nomax is the first track on, The Astonishing, but I went with, for this list, I used The Gift of Music. So, Scenes from a Memory, I didn't do the little acoustic thing with, the psychiatrist, or psychologist, whatever it is. I'm terrible with that differentiation. I went with Strange Deja Vu. It had to have vocals for me. So
that's cool, and I get that, and I think it's it's all right to approach it a different way. It has no bearing on my thought in terms of an album in a whole. This is just basically like, boom, I put it on, and like, man, immediately I'm just like, wow, we're rocking away and we're doing this and that. So
yeah.
So I guess the way we should do it is, let's alternate, and then, like, if I say one that you have it, say whatever number, don't tell me that, then wait until you get to it and announce
That's
it.
fine.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll let you go ahead and start.
All right. So my last place, number 14 of 14. Brian is going to come through the camera at me right off the bat. I am going with On the Backs of Angels from A Dramatic Turn of Events. The song, first of all, I just think the drums are weak production-wise on that record. That it just doesn't. It's just kind of there, and it just never really did anything for me. It's not one I ever go back and listen to. It's not one I think about. So for me, it was just kind of. Gibson Les Paul just got himself banned from the show permanently. He says the last place is New Millennium. You can go right to hell, Gibson. You are completely wrong on that. So, yeah, it just never did anything for me, man. I didn't. I made a playlist in reverse order for myself today. I was listening to them, and I was like, yeah, this is nothing that came after. I was like, I should rethink this.
So using your criteria that you used, I totally understand why you did it, and you're not going to get like a ton of arguments from me. I probably wouldn't have put it quite that low, but I understand why you did. Okay. And using my logic, I did put Descent of the Nomax. And even if you go all the way into Astonishing and Gift of Music, like Gift of Music, it's a decent song. It's by no means anything that should be in this list. Probably it the best, bottom 5, bottom 6 or something like that. In my thoughts.
Would you have bumped the Astonishing up further if the Gift of Music was the first track?
Yeah, probably. I would bump it over maybe 1 or 2. It'd be close, but like I said, it would still be bottom 3 to bottom 4 probably. There's just so many home runs on this list, you know what I mean? It's yeah. I mean, so like we said, something's going to finish last. So
yeah, right. Look at that, Adam Rishog, last place for me. Pull Me Under. Wow. Whoo. Jeez. Last place for Rock and Roll Podcast. As I Am.
Well, these are interesting.
Yeah.
That one really kind of blows my mind there.
No kidding. Wow. Yep. See, Kale agrees with me on The Backs of Angels. Love the song, but I think it could have been elsewhere on the album. Bridges in the Sky would have been a perfect opener. But, yeah. On The Backs of Angels wasn't perfect. All right. So, my number 13. And it got difficult for me right away because I like this song.
Should
Uh,
we be writing these down so we know, like, just a curiosity, how close we were, or here, I'll write them down. Go ahead.
okay. My number 13 is The Enemy Inside from the self-titled record. I did not go with the instrumental track. Again, my rules were it's got to have the lyrics to it. So, yeah, it's weird. Like I will say, I've always hated the snare sound on this record. It sounds like the snare is off. The drums in general just sound like they're wobbly, like they weren't tightened up to me. I don't know why. I will say this one has some kick-ass Mangini drum parts. It really sounds to me like on this one, like on a dramatic turn, like Petrucci wrote the parts for him. It was like, here, play this. Even though he says, oh, I had the freedom to do what I wanted with them, it doesn't sound like that to me. And I think this song kind of shows that because it's much busier than anything on the preceding record. So I really like that. I think it's a great album opener personally. It's busy, it's heavy, it's cool. But I liked other ones better. So what do you have for number 13?
Number 13, I have the beginning of Scenes from a Memory. So the 1928, I'll be commenting on it later. But the problem with Enemy Inside is it's literally the best opening song they never did. They really, I think, messed up big time by not making that the opening song.
Like instead of the instrumental?
Yes. And we'll get to that. So I don't know if I should comment on that now or when it gets to mine.
No, that's fine.
So.
I mean, yeah, we all right. So all right, well then, yeah, we'll save that for later because I have thoughts on that as well. So
Okay.
See, this was the problem with like not picking the stuff with lyrics. Like, I mean, your bottom two are going to be obvious. There's little rinky-dink tracks.
Well, also on Scenes from Memory, though, you've got to get through all of that. What is it? It's at least probably 3 minutes worth before you even get up to Strange Deja Vu, isn't it? 3 to 4
well, I
minutes.
mean, you've got Overture 1928.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. So,
Right.
Alrighty. So my number 12. Again, I'm gonna piss Brian off. The Root of All Evil from Octavarium. Again, a song I like, and it always has really fond memories for me because I was at Score, so I the anticipation of waiting for that downbeat to hit, and being in Radio City Music Hall and everything was just unbelievable. So I really like the song. It's weird. It kind of has that On the Backs of Angels thing for me, where there's like not a ton there's not a ton there that's overly memorable, but it's very melodically cool, and it's like you've said in the past, like it's just got a really cool groove to it. It's kind of like a simpler thing, but I think it sets up the rest of Octavarium well. I think it's a good salad for the rest of the meal that is Octavarium. So yeah, but for some reason, like I just liked a bunch of other stuff more than that. So,
That's about where I figured you'd have it. I think I predicted probably somewhere around 10. So at 12, I've got False Awakening Suite. I just think it's just not a good album opener. It doesn't seem to have much of anything to do with the rest of the album. And you come out of that and you come into what I think are two killer tracks, An Enemy Inside and Looking Glass. It's like it's easy in the digital age to go, oh, we'll just skip. But like if you put this on and as a vinyl, back in the day or whatever, or even a CD, it's like, I don't know. It's just not, to me, especially when they're ranking these, it's not a strong opening thing at all to me. So, and I think it's probably their biggest miss as far as an opener that I think, my opinion.
Even outside of the context of our conversation, I don't view that as an opener because I always think of stuff like that as an intro. It's not, okay, the album started. It's, kind of like revving up to things. So I couldn't look at it like that.
But
You know,
it doesn't even flow into Enemy Inside at all. I don't know. It's like it sounds like
Yeah.
something that should be going over the opening credits of a movie, and then all of a sudden you got this cool heavy rocker. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It just doesn't fit there. I don't even know if it fits on that album, but that album we've talked is really sort of disjointed, and we have our thoughts on that we don't want to spoil all those.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But
So Daniel Wilson asks us, how about how these album openers translate live? Root of All Evil at the start of Score is a great example. Yeah, like I was saying, I have great memories of that because from being at Score, and I saw the Cleveland show. I think it was 2 weeks before that, one of the last two shows of that leg of the tour before Score, excuse me. And I really like it. I personally didn't take how they translate live into consideration here, only because I don't think I've heard a Dream Theater song yet that is worsened in the live environment. So, I mean, obviously stuff's going to get better in the live environment sometimes. You're just going to have that energy to it and everything. Like Dark Eternal Night slams, on the record. When you hear that song live, it's just like, you're like, what the heck? Especially if you're at the show. So, I mean, did you consider that at all, Brian? Like the live translation? I did not.
no, not really, because the whole point of this, I think, like we said, is if I go buy an album and I put it on, what's the first thing I hear? What does it make me feel? That's always going to be the memory that sticks with you the most. And again, once you understand that, like The Astonishing and Scenes from Mary, that those are concept albums, you don't really know that at the time. Maybe you do, but maybe the average person's just like, oh, it's the new Dream Theater.
Yeah.
But this was literally like, man, that visceral feeling of like, man, there's this great rockin' awesome new piece of new music. Here's the first time I get to hear it. So I don't think it matters how it translates live. But like you said, the majority of the awesome ones that we probably agree on here, they sound great live. And what do they play that doesn't sound good live? I mean, other than if James is having a rough night once in a while, but I mean, musically they're always spot on. So
yeah, I completely agree with that. All right, so my number 11 is As I Am from Train of Thought. Again, I got to preface all these by saying I love all of these songs pretty much, except for my number 14 on the Backs of Angels. It's okay. The rest of them, I really love, and it just became a question of when I was ranking them, I'd like, oh, I love that song, and then I'd look at another one and say, would I listen to that one ahead of this one? And then I just started kind of piecing them together like that. And As I Am is a great song, but I think the stuff that I have ahead of it, I would choose to listen to instead of it, even though it's an incredibly strong song. We talked about it on our Train of Thought deep dive. It's got a kick-ass groove. The solo in there is just ripping, and it again, it kind of tells you exactly what you're going to get with the Train of Thought record right off the bat. So,
yeah, I think that tells you something, and I'm going to agree with you. That tells you something about how hard this is. You have As I Am at number 11.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
yeah.
I mean, I've got it obviously down a little bit further, but here, I'm getting ready for the hate mail to come flying my way. Number 11, and you'll probably be shocked that I actually put it even this high.
I am.
6 o'clock.
Oh, no. Whoa. Oh, I thought you were going New Millennium here. Wow.
No. Yeah.
No
oh, man.
kidding.
I mean, honestly, I could have probably put it 14th. I mean, so we've had these conversations about me going back and revisiting albums, and I've just fallen in love with 6 Degrees. Train of Thought, I'm about 80% on board with most of it, but man, there's just spots on Awake, and you're coming off of Images and Words, and I hear this, and I don't know what this is. I don't know. It just see, Adam, put that comment up there.
Adam Rishaw says, "I'm with you, Brian."
Yeah,
6 o'clock is meh.
Yeah, it's not a strong album opener, especially coming off of the total masterpiece that is Images and Words. I just think it's very, very weak. So I've got it there.
Wait to hear my notes about this song. Wow, man, oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, I won't give away where I have it, but I definitely don't agree with that one. I wonder if we'll have anything else that's really we're kind of like really that off, off from each other on, because that's kind of crazy. Damn, that really took me by surprise. I was really thinking you were going to say New Millennium. All right, so my number 10, and I think it starts getting a little nutty here personally, but I don't think a lot of people might agree with me with this, but my number 10 is A Nightmare to Remember from Black Clouds and Silver Linings.
Wow, that stuns me.
Yeah. So, all right. So, real quick before I continue, we got a question here. Travis Snyder asks, "Do you find these rankings similar to how you rank their respective albums?"
No, not at all.
No, I didn't. So, I mean, but then again, Travis, I can't say for sure because we haven't ranked the albums yet. So I'm not sure. Like I obviously know what my number 1 album is, and I know what my number 14 album is. And my number 13 album actually, but yeah, I don't know yet, Travis. So we'll have to see. So yeah, so A Nightmare to Remember. Again, it gets hard because that song is awesome, and I really like it. It's to me, it's one of those rare songs where the album opener might be the album's centerpiece. I don't think they have a lot of that in the catalog. Because there's other stuff that's as good or better, but this one I think you definitely have. It's either this or Count of Tuscany, and I think I would go with Count of Tuscany, but I think you can make an argument either way for that one. I think the balance between the heavy and melodic parts is phenomenal. That middle part where it gets all quiet, hopelessly drifting, bathing in beauty, like that part. That's that's my favorite vocal melody they've ever done. Yep. That sticks out in my mind above any vocal melody they've ever done. So, but again, it just comes down to if I'm looking at stuff to listen to, which ones would I go to first? And I have other ones that are, that are higher than this. So, what is your number 10?
I'm going to shock you on this one, only because well, maybe not. I've got Fortune and Lies.
Yeah, that's not going to surprise me.
No? Well, I thought you probably would have figured I had it lower.
No, because you said you actually didn't mind this song. We've talked about it a couple times on the show. And, Jacob Green agrees with me there. Oh, my God, yes, that vocal melody is absolutely my favorite. Yep, it's beautiful. It's the very first time I heard it, it just stuck with me. But, yeah, no, you haven't been as critical of A Fortune and Lies as you might think. I think you kind of are tolerant of it.
I just didn't know if you'd be surprised that I had it ahead of 6 o'clock. That's all. I guess. Probably not. No.
that I am surprised about because you had said when we did the Awake Deep Dive that all of a sudden you were like, oh my God, I got a new appreciation for this. But apparently 6 a.m. or 6 o'clock is the redheaded stepchild of that record. So. That one is bookended terribly for you, apparently.
Well, it looks like Pull Me Under is slowly making a climb. Gibson Les Paul has them up at the 10 now, and they started at 14 for Adam, I think.
Yep. Pull Me Under is such a hard one to rank because, again, like we were talking about Running with the Devil, it's kind of you've heard it so many times that it's hard to be objective about it. Because if you're going, well, do I want to listen to a Dream Theater song? Even though Pull Me Under is a phenomenal song, it's like, well, I've heard that 8,428 times. I'm going to listen to something else. So Fortune and Lies. So why did you have this, I would say, as high as you do?
I think, for what it is, it's got that, it kind of is giving you an idea of what's probably going to end up happening with this band. It's a progressive type of metal. There's obviously an 80s element to it, but it's a decent enough riff, cool solo and whatnot. And it's a song I'm fine hearing if they want to play it live. I'm down with that. I'm probably not a whole lot off for the first album I want to hear, but it's always cool if they bust that one out. And I just thought it kind of fit perfectly right there at number 10.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of that song. Anybody who's watched or listened to the show knows that. So I don't think there's any surprise that, that is something that I have higher on my list than you do. So, all right. So moving on to number 9, I think it really started getting much more difficult for me going forward here. I have Untethered Angel from Distance Over Time. And like I say, it got really difficult for me because I love that song. I love that record. The one thing I did notice as I was going through my playlist today, the production sounds great, but have you noticed that it's actually a lot quieter than all the other records? When this song came on my playlist, I was like hitting the volume button. I'm like, I'm already cranked. What the heck? So I don't know what happened in mastering, but it's not nearly as loud as the other stuff.
No, never noticed that. Not totally sure. What are you listening to? Do you have your CDs burned or something, or are you doing Spotify or Apple Music or
Amazon Unlimited?
Amazon? Okay.
Yeah, with wireless earbuds, like bass heavy ones.
Oh, okay.
This song is great. When I first heard it, when it was the first single, I was like, hell yes. I was very happy with it because I'm a huge fan of The Astonishing, but obviously that was a very divisive album. And so I was really hoping they were going to come out with a record that was basically like, all right, fine, you don't like The Astonishing? Well, here's a classic kick-ass Dream Theater album for you. And when I heard this song, I was like, okay, that's kind of the direction that they're going with this. So I thought it was a perfect first single. It just absolutely rocks. It's got, again, it's got all those hallmarks of a cool Dream Theater song, but kind of more concise and to the point. So instead of it being, 10, 12 minutes, it's, 6 or 7 or whatever it is. And I think it's great. So I have Untethered Angel as my number 9.
I figured you would probably have it pretty close to the middle, and that's about where you are. I have number 9, New Millennium. Hey, I think that's pretty good considering,
Yeah, I have to admit, I thought you'd have that one further down.
I like New Millennium. We've talked before about Falling Into Infinity. There's no other album that remotely sounds like that one. It's a difficult album to kind of dissect and really understand like what all is going on there with different types of music. There's really just a lot of different styles going on, I think, which is great. I'm fine with it at 9. I don't think I have it too high or too low. I think it's probably sits good right there.
Okay. Yeah, hey, it's the opening. Look at this, Travis. Speaking of somebody who's going to get his ass banned, Travis Snyder, New Millennium would be number 14 for me with a laughy face. Come on, man.
You can't come on the show and talk about Falling Into Infinity bad to John, because that will get you banned.
If we were one of those shows that actually bans people, like,
right.
if we were cancel culture on this show, you'd be screwed. Yeah. But we are not like that. So
it's like beating a dog, basically, for John.
Yeah,
that or trashing Falling Into Infinity.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I guess I shouldn't be surprised you had it this low. It'll be real interesting to see. I'm looking at which ones we have left, and it'll be real interesting to see which ones we have in like our top 4. So, I don't know. I'm really wondering if we have the same number 1. That as soon as I ranked my number 1, which was easy for me, I was like, I wonder if we have the same one.
I have no idea.
Yeah, we will find out shortly.
Right.
So moving on to number 8, unlike your ruling, I thought Strange Deja Vu was what I consider the opener for Metropolis 2000, and so my number 8 is Strange Deja Vu. Great song, love it. Even though it's the beginning of a concept album, I think it's one of the hookiest openers they did, because I always kind of view this almost as like more of a cohesive piece of music than a collection of songs, just because of the vibe that's presented and everything. But that having been said, I still think that this is a really catchy song. The vocals throughout have a melody, an easy to sing melody, and it changes up here and there. It's just cool. It's an uplifting, like, it sounds energetic. Like, it really sounds like the band is energized after all that crap they went through on Falling Into Infinity, and I think that energy really comes through on this song. So I really like it. I really like it.
Well, I love the song. We had it on our. I think I picked it for the Gateway songs. So people that didn't even know Dream Theater. I
Yep.
picked it as one of my picks. I love the song. I just what are we gonna do when we do an episode where it's the best third songs on you know? Because we get to pick that one again, or
We're just gonna go through episodes, just rank it. Okay, here's our favorite track sevens.
so there was another podcast. I won't mention the name, but I think it was something like, "What's the best fourth song on an album?" Or whatever. Like I can understand doing one or two, but man, your brain really has to like start focusing or doing some serious googling to figure that out.
Could you imagine having to do that? Like, you've got millions of albums to choose from.
Yeah, that just sounds dumb. But yeah, Strange Deja Vu. I mean, if that's truly an album opener, the way you say, I would probably set it somewhere where it is right there. I don't think that's bad.
Okay.
Number 8, I have Untethered Angel.
Okay.
It's funny because I was so excited when Distance Over Time came out, and I really think that the Untethered Angel was just a lackluster single. Like I almost think it's in contest the worst song on the album. But the thing of it is, it's like you said, it's very familiar. It's very Dream Theater-ish. You know, it's like an old comfortable pair of jeans. You know what I mean? You know exactly. Like when it came in, you're like, oh, okay, because this was after the Astonishing and whatnot, and you're like, okay, I'm kind of falling into this this old groove of there's my band's back, but it's not super duper exciting, but I think it fit. You had it one spot. This is the closest we've been on anything so far.
Yeah, it really has been.
We're only one away, so I think this, like I said, it's a good song. It fits. I mean, exactly, basically almost in the middle here, which is probably the place it should go.
Yeah, Kale says track 4s. I'd take Welcome Home Sanitarium, Heaven Can Wait, and The Shattered Fortress. I just. And I had to pipe up for my favorite track 4 ever. Hear about it later from Van Halen's Fair Warning. That is like totally off topic, but
Oh God.
So at least we know what my top one will be if we ever do the best fourth song in history episode.
Let's see. Is Knock 'Em Dead Kid? Is that the fourth? Or is that the fifth song? Do you count In the Beginning as being in the beginning?
I wouldn't because of you would.
No, wait. I think you had Looks That Kill, and then is it Bastard? I used to know that album.
Yeah, it's Shout at the Devil, Looks That Kill, Bastard.
Then it might be Knock 'Em Dead Kid.
or is it Red Hot?
We need the Jeopardy theme song.
I know
to talk about Shout at the Devil track list order.
Jeez, man, what a bunch of idiots! All right, so my next one at number 7 is right in the middle, maybe a little higher than the middle, is Pull Me Under. I think this is more of like a. I think this is more of like a nostalgia thing. I just don't know how you can keep this one down on the list. It's the song that started it all, and I don't think you can ever deny the power and, to me, the beauty of this song. It's longer than you would think, and it's awesome. Every time I hear it live, I'm like, this song rocks. And again, to me, it's I don't have much to say about it, but it's the one that started it all, so I'm showing it some proper respect, and I've got it as my number 7. So, what do you have as number 7 on your list?
I have On the Backs of Angels, and I think of this song very similar to Untethered Angel. It's just kind of like it's a very comfortable Dream Theater, very standard type of thing they do. The way the intro is, and those kind of choiry string parts Jordan plays, behind the heavy guitars that I love so much. And to me, the two songs are very similar, not just because they both have the word angel in them, but I don't know, just the feel of them and the way I go, oh man, that's the Dream Theater that I know. And is it a great song? No, I don't think by any stretch. It's probably the worst song on Dramatic Turn Events. Honestly, Cale made a great point. If you start with Bridges in the Sky, like, man, that's a huge home run right there, as opposed to, but it's easy to do all that and say all that in hindsight, once you get in, oh, well, the second song is better than the first song now, but you don't know that at the time. So yeah, I've got it right here at 7. Maybe that's probably lower than you thought I was going to have it.
I don't know. It makes sense here. I didn't think you would have it as high as you may think I would have, because I know that there's others coming up that you are just like crazy about. So, and this is not one that you've ever really talked about a ton. Like, I know you love A Dramatic Turn, but this is not one of the ones that you've gushed over. So,
Right.
interesting in the chat. Gibson Les Paul, his number 7 is In the Presence of Enemies Part 1. I mean, obviously, me and you both have that in our top 6, but man, that seems low.
I think that's way low. But
Yeah, you're gonna have to explain that one, Gibson. That's one we're gonna take umbrage with you.
Yeah.
There's another word. We have cobbler and umbrage on this episode. we're being all wordy. So all right. So my number 6 is The Gift of Music from The Astonishing. Something about this song has always stood out to me from the first time I heard it. Something about it is just so catchy to me. And it's one of those rare short Dream Theater songs. By short, I mean like 4 or 5 minutes, that manages to get some really cool Dream Theater isms into it without it sounding forced, like they're cramming it in there. And I've always thought that was really cool. And again, something about it has always been just really, really catchy to me. I listen to it a lot on its own. There's not a lot of songs I can listen to on their own on The Astonishing, just because I tend to enjoy listening to that as an entire piece. But this is definitely one. I mean, kind of stupid to say it's the first single, but I really think it's a great song. I really enjoy it. It's one of the 2 strongest songs on the album as far as I'm concerned. And I like it. So I put it up higher than I think a lot of people probably would have. So what do you have on that one?
How do I do that thing again where I hide you and completely take you out of the chat and mute you?
At least I didn't do a noise track for the opening song. It's not even a song.
Oh my gosh. You even by your rules, you're absolutely smoking. I don't know what to put this in the top 6. I mean, I'm sorry. It's an okay song, but there's no way in the world. I'm not gonna let that fly.
Oh my god.
But I've got Glass Prison at 6. Some probably think that's too low.
What?
But I've just got too many more that I like more than that one. So I
Oh
got
my god.
still in the top half.
All right, we need to get the commenters in on this. What's more egregious? Me having The Gift of Music as high as 6, or him having The Glass Prison as low as 6? That is...
Probably you, but...
There you go, Adam. Brian is officially on drugs, so there's one vote against you.
Yeah, this coming from someone that eats ketchup chips.
Shut up. By the way, Adam says, I didn't like The Gift of Music till they released the rendition with Lizzie Hale. I think that was Our New World, Adam.
Yeah, that's Our New World.
Okay. Unless they did both, and I don't know about it. But... yeah, dude, that's crazy. All right, explain yourself. Yeah, see, Jacob Green, see? Holy shit, Glass Prison not number 1, blasphemy.
Well, you'll see why. You'll see why when you see what I have at number 1. I would think what I have ahead of this. There's probably only one you're gonna, really think I'm stupid for. But obviously, you already know I have it ranked high. So
I was gonna say. So all right, so. Man, The Glass Prison, that is... wow. I think I'm more shocked at that one than I am you having 6 o'clock at number 11.
Well,
Adam says he's officially taking over as co-host. Brian's out.
Hey, man, it's yours.
Oh, my God. So anyway, sorry to cut you off, buddy.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm also, like I said, I'm going back to my thing of when I first heard these albums, the ones that just got me right away, and it took me a while to get into 6 Degrees, and that's just, I got it at 6.
No, that's
6
true.
Degrees at 6. See?
Yeah, I see what you did there. All right, so at number 5, this probably is not a surprise that it's as high as it is. New Millennium. So pretty simple. It's the opening song on my favorite Dream Theater record. I've always loved the groove of it. It's kind of like a jam. One of the things I really love is that during the heavy parts, Derek Sherinian's, and this is a theme throughout the record, but Derek Sherinian's keyboards just blend so well with Petrucci's guitar when it gets heavy and stuff like that. It's really, Jordan Rudess said that he kind of had this dirty organ thing to act as kind of a rhythm guitar on Train of Thought, and you kind of have to listen for that. But on Falling Into Infinity, and stuff like New Millennium, you don't have to listen. It's right there. Like, you can tell that it's like a dirty organ and a heavy guitar, and it's just grooving and stuff. So, it's cool, man. It's the opening song on my favorite record, so it's a good way to start out what I think is their finest piece of work. So, what's your number 5?
Well, just going back to yours, I'm a little surprised. I actually kind of I had that pegged for top 3 for you, so I was close. But I'm actually going to agree with Adam on number 5. I do have Root of All Evil.
Okay. I was not surprised you had this one that high.
Yeah, I love this as an album opener, and I think you said too, it kind of sets up Octavarium nicely. But man, it just, that opening riff and it's the groove of it, it's just powerful. I mean, it's one you always want to hear live, and if they opened every show for the next 10 years with that song live, I'd be fine with it. I don't care. I just think it's a great song. I mean, it's not too overly busy or anything. What does it come in around 8 minutes or so? It's not one of their more insane ones, but there's enough awesome, cool things going on. But to go back to New Millennium, Derek Sherinian, we talked before, and I think I said that I almost enjoyed what he did on that album more than any of the other keyboard players. That, man, you just wonder what would it be like to have a second album with Sherinian on it. Yeah. What would that look like? And he's a master at that rock organ stuff, like in Black Country Communion. They do that stuff for days on some of those songs where him and Joe Bonamassa trade off blues and real chunky organ heavy, B3 Hammond type riffs. Yeah. But and he has a lot of those kind of things going on certain songs on that album. But
yep. Yeah, I'm in complete agreement with you. I that's my favorite keyboard performance in the band's history. I'm very intrigued about that, your comment about a second album, because we know that Falling Into Infinity was they were trying to write more commercially. So did he fit in better because he was more of a rock player, or would it still have been as awesome when they're just like going off and trying to be progressive and stuff like that? So I would definitely love to hear what would have come out of that. So all right, let's get into the top 4, kind of like the playoffs. My number 4 is A Fortune in Lies from When Dream and Day Unite. I absolutely love this song. I've been on record as saying that many times on the show. I don't think this song gets talked about enough because the album gets overlooked. A lot of people don't really like it. One of my favorite parts has always been right in that middle part. Or if you're Mike Mangini doing it with one hand. That just how the organ is like, it holds out those big, lush, just holding out chords over that staccato thing. And I've just always thought that just sounds awesome. It sounds huge. It's such a cool juxtaposition of something heavy with something just kind of beautiful. And I've always just been a huge fan of that song, and I listen to it a lot. So, look, Kale's got New Millennium at number 4. All right, there we go. I like that. Okay, so I've got A Fortune in Lies at number 4. Thoughts, or are you going to your number 4? Since you have already crapped on this one.
No, I'm not crapping on it. I figured you would get this in your top 5, so that's kind of about where you have it. I just think probably the dated aspect of it for me is why I wouldn't have it, is why I have all the other ones ahead of it. But
okay,
for you, it makes sense where it is. For my number 4, they did an album called Master of Puppets, and there was a song called Battery, and it was very heavy. Like, it didn't sound like anything they'd ever done before. So oh wait, that's not their song.
Are you going with the Yitzhak Jam version or the Lost Not Forgotten version?
Okay, sorry. There was an album they did called Number of the Beast. The song is Invaders.
Oh my god.
And it's no, actually I have number 4, and I'm kind of surprised, I'm not surprised after we did the episode for Train of Thought, but I've got As I Am at number 4.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I just think I think it's the best song on the album. It opens the album,
No.
and I love it.
The best song on Train of Thought, huh? I thought we agreed that Honor Thy Father was up there.
Well, you might have
Uh-oh.
agreed that.
Like, I agreed to no such thing.
Kale, we're not going in the shower with you. Sorry.
Yeah. So Kale is giving his in the comments if you're watching the replay or anything like that, or if you give a crap, everyone's giving us their rankings, which is awesome. Thanks for doing that, guys. It's cool you guys took the time. So he says his number 3 is 6 o'clock. His number 2 is Overture 1928, and his number 1 is The Glass Prison. Well, Jacob Green will appreciate that number 1. Adam Rishog, Honor Thy Father be one of the best number 4 tracks. That number 4 rears its ugly head again, man. So, all right, so getting into the top 3. Kale is going to enjoy this pick. My number 3 is 6 o'clock. And I will completely disagree with you in your assessment of it being a letdown coming off of Images and Words. I think this one is an excellent crossover of, kind of setting the tone for Awake, but also having enough callbacks to what was on Images and Words to where it's kind of like that transition song. So that's really cool. And then, of course, you get into, after that, then you're into, Caught in a Web, and then the 7-string comes out. And so it's, okay, this is a different record. So I think it's kind of like that, it kind of is like dipping your toes in the water of the new record and keeping it familiar, but keeping it fresh. I think, the drum parts are awesome on this. It's just a fun song to listen to. But if you really listen to the bass stuff, this is one of my favorite my own bass lines. There's some pretty interesting stuff going on, especially near the end where, the other stuff's a little cleaner. Like, he's kind of moving around. It's pretty sweet. I really like that aspect of this one. So
I wrote down one word based on all your comments. No. No, I'm not shocked. I knew you would probably get Fortune and Lies. Like, those 3 right there, I knew were going to make your top 5. So
right.
That's cool, man. I get it. Number 3 for me, I do have Nightmare to Remember.
Okay.
Great song. I took it number 1, I think, in the draft, which most people think I'm an idiot for doing. I probably could have waited on it now in hindsight.
Hindsight is always 20/20, my friend.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I just, we talked about that middle vocal part, and it's a song I've said before, I always want to hear it live, and so number 3 for me, easy. It was Nightmare was going to make top 5 no matter what.
Yeah, I can't argue with you. It's just, dude, it's an epic song. I gave my thoughts on it earlier. Jacob Green, yeah, he says Nightmare is top 3 for me too, so he's in agreement with you there. Yeah, I mean, I can't really argue with that. I mean, that's one of those ones. Like I say, I had it further down my list. I had it at number 10. You've got it at number 3. And I think for most people it would probably be much closer to where you have it. So I definitely cannot argue with you on that. For sure.
I'd have a hard time thinking that the majority wouldn't at least be top 5.
Yeah.
I mean, but
all right. So the top 2, I am going to my guess for your number 1 is my number 2. I have at number 2 In the Presence of Enemies Part 1. And to me, it's just a totally perfect song. It rocks. I could listen to it over and over and over and over again. They said that when they were writing this one, they wanted to, the only theme for this, for the Systematic Cast record was they wanted to have chunk and balls, and this definitely has chunk and balls, and there's a lot of that, ugg stuff going on, and man, what can you say? I mean, it's In the Presence of Enemies. It's just absolutely killer. And you talk about a song, that there's never been a song that has been lessened by them performing it live. This is one of the perfect examples of a song that's, some you can say that's even better live. Like extremely. It's just so much fun to watch. And for me, this is one of them. I mean, I was so glad we got to see this on the Distance Over Time tour. I thought it was a great choice for them to pull out. It's just awesome. And I love how it bookends with part 2. And part 2 is like almost completely different until you get to the end. It's just the way that it's written is just awesome. So,
well, they're definitely two totally separate songs, and if you're doing a draft, you wouldn't be able to put them together in the same song. That's for sure.
He's taking shots at Adam and Kale and I. All right,
and you.
That's why I said, hey, I'll own up to that. But I'm sorry, it was written as one song, and they just split it into two. That's factual.
Okay, I wish we would have done something before we started this. So, if you would have guessed before how long it would take going through this list before you and I actually had the same song at the same number, what would you have guessed? Or do you think if it would have even happened?
I honestly thought it'd be number 1.
Okay.
So you're saying that you have this at number 2?
It took us 13 songs, and we are in agreement.
Man, I am trying to figure out what the hell. I should have marked mine off as you chose them by album so I could see. All right, so we both have In the Presence of Enemies. All right, so wow, yeah, I would have thought this would be your number 1, but it is not. So why don't we just get to our number 1s? Jacob Green and Cale, our buddy Cale McLeish. You'll be happy to know that I agree with both of you, and my choice as the number 1 Dream Theater album opener from all 14 records is The Glass Prison from 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. That song is just an absolute monster. It's a monster from start to finish. It just goes and goes and goes. It's 14 minutes long. It doesn't bother me that it's 14 minutes long, and it just sounds great. I absolutely love that song. It's way up on my list of favorite Dream Theater songs, period, much less album openers.
Yeah, that was an easy money to bet you on that one. I knew for sure you'd have that. I know you worship that album, and I don't have any problem with that being that high. That's I had it at 6 only because there's just some I like a little better. So
speaking of being wrong,
yeah. Well,
right,
number 1 for me, it's Pull Me Under. I mean, I just
wow.
we wouldn't even have this show, honestly, if it wasn't for Pull Me Under. At least I wouldn't be interested in doing it, because I told the story a million times. I'd heard stuff off the first album. I had the first album. I was like, eh. And then I heard Pull Me Under, and I'm like, what in the hell is this?
Yeah.
And then the video. I mean, but the first, like, again, I'm going back to the first time you hear the first song on an album, and you put it on, you're like, what in the hell is this? The huge video, without that support from MTV, without the radio support, there probably would be I don't think there'd be a Dream Theater as we know it. I don't know that you could keep down, so to say, Mae Young and Petrucci and Portnoy, at least those 3. I don't think you could keep those guys down from doing something in the music industry or being successful or playing in bands. But I honestly do not know if Pull Me Under had not taken off the way it did, that Dream Theater would be what they are. I mean,
no,
it's a what if,
I completely agree. Adam Rishog says, "Go home, Brian. You're drunk."
This is actually the first night, water only.
Yeah, I'm just drinking iced tea and water as well. So go home. You're drunk. Adam, I wouldn't agree with it at number 1, but I will agree with him as to its importance, because I've always believed that what you had with Pull Me Under was a song that tons of people got into, and then when Awake came out, I'll just say fair weather fans, for lack of a better term, kind of fell off, and you were left with what became like the core of the hardcore Dream Theater audience. And those people stuck around. And I think without Pull Me Under to expose them to that many people, you're not going to have that big of a bunch of leftover fans that are there for the rest of the band's history. So I don't think that the importance of Pull Me Under can possibly be understated. So I completely agree with you there.
Well, and it's the lead song on what's considered one of the greatest, hard rock, progressive rock albums of all time, right? I mean,
Yep.
is there even any question? Well, however you want to categorize, it's considered one of the greatest albums of all time in this genre,
Yep.
and,
Yeah.
most groundbreaking, So, we joke around a lot about Pull Me Under, and when we did the draft, none of us drafted it because why would we?
Yeah.
But I'm like you, something you harken back to, we go see them play live and they finish up and there's an encore, second encore. You're like, man, I hope they don't stop playing Pull Me Under. And then,
Yeah.
then those chords come in and you just get those shivers on the back of your neck. And you're like, yeah, of course, when I'm sitting around at home, I'd never play that song. It never comes up on a playlist. And they're like, oh,
Yep.
geez, I want to put Pull Me Under on. But when we go see them live, it's like, I got to hear it. It finishes the night for me. It's like, it's the perfect end to a perfect Dream Theater show. And just play the damn song,
Yep.
That's the way I feel about it.
I completely agree with you, man. Like I said, it's not one of those ones that you're ever gonna willingly put on. I don't think very often, but when you hear it, just that boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
It's like that. That's when your mind and your heart just go, I'm at a Dream Theater show.
Oh yeah,
It's just those three notes. Just it's like it's the signature. It's like, okay, I'm where I want to be. Like it's you can't go wrong with it in a live setting. Gibson Les Paul, his number one is False Awakening Suite into the Enemy Inside. Adam, I think I'm going to amend your comment, say go home. Gibson, you're drunk. So he's got my number 13 as his number one. Man.
So I was trying to look here. So other than, we both had number 2 the same.
Mm-hmm.
Untethered Angel, we were off by 1.
Yep.
But everything else, man, is pretty nothing's really lining up much.
No.
which is good and exactly how I figured it would go. It's not like I'm sitting here going, wow, I'm shocked.
Well, we both had the self-titled down kind of low, but I think, again, I mean, would you again? I don't know if you'd have it that low if you were going with the Enemy Inside instead of False Awakening Suite.
So yeah, if I was going with Enemy Inside, let's see, I'd probably put that at 7 where I have Backs of Angels. Yeah, I'd put that ahead of that. I'd put that ahead of Untethered Angel for sure.
I have to admit that's my fault, because when I was thinking about it today, I was like, I don't think I ever told him my criteria, so we were going from the same place.
Well, we kind of did, but I didn't necessarily agree with your criteria, so I didn't know.
I just said F your criteria.
Right. Well, no, like I said, I was thinking back to, the old days of like, here's an album in a record store. You just see a picture and you're like, I didn't know the first thing about Judas Priest when I bought Screaming for Vengeance and I saw this killer album cover, in the store in 1982 when I was 14 years old. I didn't know a song by that. I knew nothing about them. That you'd see kids in your junior high or whatever wearing their shirts. And you're like, yeah, Judas Priest. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what that is. But then you go get Screaming for Vengeance and you put that in there, you put that on and you hear the opening stuff, parts of the Hellion. And you're like, oh my God, what is this?
Yeah.
This is the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my entire life,
Yep.
So I kind of use that, that wasn't my sole criteria, but I understand what you did too. It makes sense.
Yeah. I just figured it was a cop out. I mean, I'm not ripping on you in any way. I promise. I'm actually being serious this time. But I actually kind of figured it was a cop out to use, like, for example, like the Psychiatrist track from, Metropolis 2000, or, again, just like an instrumental, because to me it's like that's just an intro. It's not meant to be. It doesn't feel like me like it's meant to be the true start of the record. So I went with what I'm like, okay, now they're kicking into high gear. Like that was kind of like where I was at with trying to come up with this. But what's really funny? How long did it take you to come up with your list?
You doing it the way I did, I don't know, half hour maybe.
Mine is literally a first draft that I never changed once.
Okay.
I could not believe it. I was sitting at work last week. I'm like, all right, let me get to work on this, because again, when I ranked the Star Wars movies, that took me days. That was a bitch. And I was like, so I knew, all right, get started on this. So I knew Glass Prison in the Presence of Enemies were going to be 1 and 2. I knew, on the Backs of Angels was going to be number 14. No offense. And so the middle stuff, I kind of just started thinking, and I was like, I mean, I literally as I typed it, I looked back at it. I was like, yeah, this makes sense. And then especially when I made my playlist today, just to make sure, I went through the playlist. I was like, yeah, these just keep getting cooler and cooler to me. Like it was a perfect progression. It was so weird how quickly I came up with it. And I never thought that would happen.
I mean, looking at this now, even using your criteria, okay, if I use your criteria, I'm still going to put Gift of Music last, which is where I have the Astonishings album, right?
Wow. Astonishing. So now we both got it wrong. I call it the Awakening. You call it Astonishings.
Oh, there's no S in there? Well, you've got your way of saying it. I've got mine's. So yeah, I mean, obviously, like Strange Deja Vu wouldn't be 13. That would probably move up to. I'd probably put that at 9 and move New Millennium back a little bit. But it really, I mean, there'd be like 2 kind of small changes. Honestly, the rest of it really would stay about the same.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's weird. I would really think that you would have some other things higher. Especially, I mean, well, I guess if you dislike the Gift of Music that much, I guess
It's not that I dislike it. It's just I don't think it's. I just don't even think it's in the same ballpark as these others. But I know you have such a love of that album in general that it's going to be hard for you to go on. What did you? The Astonishing. What did you do to me? You left me hung me out to dry. Like
right.
So.
Yeah. No, again, it was. I thought of the records. I'm like, oh yeah, that song, and it was just it was a very visceral, natural response thing that I went with as my criteria, and it worked out perfectly for me. So
I was trying to see like where were our biggest gaps, but I guess so. You had pulled me under at 7. I had it at 1, but you understand why I had it at 1. I understand why you had it at 7, so it makes sense.
I think 6 o'clock is the biggest one because you had it at 11 and I had it at 3.
Okay, yeah, that's a difference. 11 minus 3. Yeah, that's like 5 there.
You're such an ass. Honest to God. You had as I am at 4 and I had it at 11, so that's 1.
Yeah, which I'm not surprised. Well, you know what? I actually am a little surprised because I thought your love of Train of Thought might bump that up a little.
I really like that song, but I like the other songs better. Honor Thy Father is just a beast.
Okay, here's something interesting, and it shows that we think of songs in the same same vein. So Root of All Evil, I have at 5, As I Am at 4. You have Root of All Evil at 12, and As I Am at 11. So you're thinking of those songs sort of the same way I am, I think, to a degree.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, we do have some differences on here now that you look at it. I think the 2 biggest surprises, obviously you had Glass Prison at 6. I really thought you'd have On the Backs of Angels higher than that.
No, it's like I said, it's very similar to Untethered Angel to me. It's just it's a fits like a glove, comfortable song, but as much as I love Dramatic Turn, that's not as good of a song as Glass Prison. I mean, I guess you can debate, probably there's some hatred for Root of All Evil out there, but it's obviously not as good as Nightmare and In the Presence of Enemies. I mean, those are no brainers that are going to be ahead of it. Even as much as I love that album, I'm not that insane.
Yeah. Right.
So
I think the question remains that when we do our best album closer episode, because we have to do that now. I mean, we have to do that. Are you going to go with the same thing? Are you going to do
Well, I don't know that that's going to work. Me thinking of it that way. So I don't know. We'll have to figure out our ground rules on that one, I guess. It's tough because of all these concept albums.
I don't think there's anything. Oh, Adam Rishog says best album closer is No Contest. Let's see if we can guess. Let's see. Learning to Live would be up there.
Well, you know what I'm picking, so there's no point in me even doing it.
Actually, I don't. Man, I don't know. All right, Adam. So, all right, what do you got, Brian? While Adam is typing out his best album closer, what would you pick?
Oh, Count of Tuscany. It's not even.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah,
it's not even. That's not even an episode. We can do an episode. We don't want to give away too many.
Yeah. Jacob says Octavarium. Adam says Octavarium. Gibson Les Paul. Astonishing is the best closer. He is so not serious.
Okay.
If he is serious, you better let me know, because otherwise I think you're joking.
Are you sure there's not an S on it? It's not Astonishings?
Yes, I'm quite positive.
Oh, okay.
Adam's trolling you now. All 42 minutes of 6 Degrees is the best album closer. Oh, a callback to our draft episode. So, man, this was fun. This was fun. I don't think we argued as much as I thought we would. But again, there were a couple surprises in here, so I think, wow, okay, back to Gibson Les Paul. He said he's serious. The Astonishing is the best closer. No kidding.
I said before when we were doing our draft that I thought it would be kind of cool that come back with that, like no one would ever expect you're going to play that, because you probably haven't even played anything from the album.
Yeah.
Other than maybe Brave New World or something, and just end with that. I think it'd be kind of neat.
Our New World. Brave New World is Maiden. Boy, you are a Maiden kick tonight.
Sorry.
You're too busy trying to figure out the 4th track on Number of the Beast.
Yeah.
So,
see. Is it Gangland? No.
Yeah, no, this is fun, man. I enjoyed doing this. So like I said, we'll have to do the album closer thing. Got to thank everybody for hanging out in the chat and all that. I think definitely, you know what I kind of want to do for one of these upcoming episodes, Brian, is just kind of have almost like a chat episode. Just maybe do that as like a special episode on a weekend or something, and grab some beverages and stuff like that, and just have everybody just pile in here. We just bullshit about Dream Theater for an hour and a half, however long. We'll just all talk, ask each other questions and stuff, and not really have a topic. Just kind of hang out. I mean, if you guys would be into that, let us know. You can, hit us up on our email or our social media pages and all that. If you guys would be interested in just hanging out on a weekend and, having some drinks and talking about some Dream Theater. So I think that'd be cool. So do you have any ideas for the next episode? I think we have a couple cool things. I can tease an interview that we're going to be getting.
Yeah, I heard there's a special guest possibly coming.
Yeah, that one is a lock. We just have to book it. So this one's going to be kind of cool because fans of Images and Words are going to dig this. We are going to have Monty Colvin from the Galactic Cowboys on an episode coming up here, and he is going to go deep into the Images and Words tour. Galactic Cowboys was the opening act for Dream Theater on that first world tour that they did. And he's going to talk about all the stuff that went down on that tour, try and get some cool stories out of him and stuff like that. Jack Lewis says, sorry I joined late. Don't be sorry, man. It's all good. You can catch the video replay, you can catch the audio replay and all that. Just remember, 2 weeks from tonight at 7:30 p.m. So there you go.
Yep.
But yeah, so we're going to get Monty Colvin on at some point to talk about that first world tour. Gibson wants to put you through another Awake deep dive.
I can't do it, man.
At least we know your number 14 album closer. So
yeah,
giving away. So yeah, so we're gonna have Monty Colvin on, and we got some other guests coming up. And if we get any green lights as to stuff that we can share regarding the new record as we're getting closer and closer to October 22nd, we'll definitely be sure to let you guys know. So definitely looking forward to that and the show November 12th and all that. So yeah, so thanks for hanging out again, Brian. The show seems to get more and more fun as we go. I'm really having a blast doing this. So got to thank you again for having this idea however many months ago. But we should do a Dream Theater podcast. Very prescient of you to know that it would be this much fun.
Yeah, I think you came up with this today's topic, though. So, yeah, this was an awesome one as well, man.
Yeah, a lot of fun. So don't forget, guys, that we are live every other Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Facebook, YouTube, talkingintoinfinity.com, or the CMSnetwork.com. If you missed the live broadcast, you can catch the video replays of each episode the following Friday on Heavy Metal Television or the CMSnetwork.com. And if you want to check out the audio replays of the show, those go up pretty much within half hour to an hour after we're done with the live broadcast. So you can go just Google Talking Into Infinity podcast, and we're all over the place, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those good places. So if you guys have any topic ideas, just let us know. If you guys want to interact with us, just shoot us a Facebook message. I know a lot of you guys have done that, so appreciate the interaction. We always like hearing from you guys and kind of BSing between shows. So until next time, I am John. He is my very good buddy Brian, and we will catch you in 2 weeks at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Later, guys.